Hey friend, how you doing? It's Tim Sure here, and I thought I would go for a walk, and I hope you would like to come with me because I want to talk about how to recognize self-sabotage behavior.
Here's the question. What's going on inside the minds of top achievers that cause them to make extraordinary breakthroughs both personally and professionally? My name is Tim Sure, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the unconscious mind and discover how to transform your biggest dreams into a reality. Welcome to the How to Be Mesmerizing podcast.
Because the problem with self-sabotage is often we don't realize that we are doing it to ourselves, and that is the self-deception. Self-deception is when we are unaware that we are helping to cause or create or play a role in the problems that we are complaining about. And because we don't know it, we don't have the ability to change it. And that sucks. And so what are we going to do about it? Well, I want to share a couple different ideas with you to help you recognize if this is happening to you. And just a little hint, it is. It happens to all of us. We all hold ourselves back in some way, and often we don't recognize it because of our blind spots. And so again, remember, a blind spot is simply something that you're not aware of. You know, you have this belief, this filter that makes you look at the world in a certain way, and if your blind spot is over here, you know, and you won't see it, right? It's not in your awareness. So we always have to be expanding our self-awareness, expanding our beliefs, having a different perspective, and then all of a sudden it widens our ability to notice what's happening around us or inside of us. And as a result, we're like, whoa, I didn't even know this was happening, and now we can focus on it. So I decided to go outside today, go for a little walk with you because it's cold, right? It's like 39 degrees outside, and a lot of times, you know, I just thought it would be fun to kind of mimic what it feels like on the inside when we're not getting our goals, when we're not achieving our goals, when we don't feel like our life has turned out the way that we think it was supposed to, when we're not achieving the things that we want with our business, our money, our weight, our health, our relationships, our confidence, just how we feel about life in general every single day. When we feel like something is missing, and sometimes we know exactly what it is, sometimes we can't put our finger on it. It just feels like we're depressed or we're stressed or we're feeling like unfulfilled, like we're not living our authentic purpose, we're not our authentic selves, and sometimes we're just frustrated. We just walk around going, I know what I want, I just can't get there. It feels like something's blocking me, and I don't know what it is because I'm trying everything and doing everything and it's just not working out. And that's almost always the first sign that there is an inner self-sabotage. There is an inner belief, a blind spot that you have that is messing you up or holding you back in regards to you getting what you want or having what you want, or looking the way you want to feel, or looking the way you want to look, or feeling the way that you want to feel. So the reason that I'm taking a walk here where I am is because of a couple of things. One, it's cold outside, and it can feel like our on the inside we feel cold and dark and desperate and frustrated and empty and depressed, right? However, if we can pop out of that for just a moment and look around, it's beautiful, right? There's a lot of beauty around us at the same time. And for me, where we're at here, spring is on the way. In fact, spring, I think today might actually be, or yesterday was the first day of spring. And so just remember that when it comes to seasons, winter is always followed by spring, and spring is followed by summer, right? And so if you've been in winter for a long time and you want out of it, then keep watching this video with me. So again, the goal is to, I wonder if I can walk through the grass. I just want to be by that water for some reason. I like water. I'm going to go by that water. So I'm going to go off the chosen path, and I don't know if you can see it, there's a path there, and I'm going to go, there's a wonderful book that I loved reading by M. Scott Peck, Dr. Peck, and he was a psychiatrist, and he wrote a book called The Road Less Traveled, and Further Down the Road Less Traveled, and I love those books. So because he was just always analyzing what was going on in his life, and he was brutally honest. He was willing to be totally honest and vulnerable, and that's how I wanted to be too. So, all right, so anyway, so self-sabotage. So how do we recognize it? The first way we recognize it is by not having what we want or not feeling the way we want to feel. Okay, that is the very first way to recognize if you're sabotaging yourself, because if you're not getting what you want, it's probably because you're not thinking in a way that's conducive to having what you want. Right? Remember, your feelings are generated by how you think, and if what you're focusing on is creating feelings that are stressful or negative, then your thoughts are not focused on the right place, right? So our mind is designed to prepare us, not scare us. And often we spend too much time worrying and scaring ourselves, like somehow if we worry enough, it's going to make all these bad things go away. The other problem is that when we worry, we get deeper into the details of our worry, which means we're not able to pick our head up and look at the bigger vision of what we ultimately want to have happen, or who we need to lean on for support, or what resources we need. And it just drags us down deeper and deeper into this, emotional pit that makes us suffer. And when you're suffering, your brain releases adrenaline and cortisol, which squeezes your brain in a way. It makes it even harder for you to recognize your blind spots. Oh my goodness, I'm walking through branches. I almost lost an eye. That would have been a blind spot. Okay, so anyway, so we have to make sure that when we are checking our feelings, that can be one way that our body is giving us feedback about what we're thinking about. Now, the second way to know if you're sabotaging yourself is, are you isolating? Are you withdrawing? Are you hiding from everybody? Because that is something that definitely will keep you stuck. Now, I know sometimes we need to just get away, settle down, recharge our batteries, and that's totally fine. Especially if you're more introverted, it's necessary for you to be able to get by yourself, just get quiet, jump into a book, a movie, something that, music, something that will recharge your emotions, and that's perfectly fine. So, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about where we just feel fed up, right? There have been many times in my life when I'm like, you know what? This is too hard. I've tried too many times. It's not working out. There must be obviously something wrong with me. It's not meant to be. And so the heck with it. I'm just gonna go watch movies all day and be a loser, right? And I have definitely got into those moments of self-pity. And sometimes they would last like, a whole week, where I just could not seem to get motivated. I was just too burned out. I was just trying too hard by myself. And that's the part, we found the path again, okay? That's the part that I want to talk to you about again. When we're eliminating self-sabotaging behavior, we have to recognize it first. And it's very, very, very difficult to recognize it by yourself. In fact, it's near impossible to get rid of your blind spots by yourself, because how are you supposed to do that? How are you supposed to uncover blind spots if they're blind to you? So it's very difficult to try to make these breakthroughs all by yourself. In fact, any big breakthrough I've ever had was because I was communicating with another person. And if you are hiding, if you're withdrawing, if you're isolating, if you're laying in bed, if you're not talking to anybody, then there is no way that you're going to be able to get better, right? Even when you're praying, God will answer your prayers. You'll say, I pray and pray and pray all the time, and God just doesn't care. No, God is creating opportunities for you, but if you don't get out of bed, you won't see them. If you don't get out of the house, you won't be able to connect and with the people who will be able to help you to make those big breakthroughs. So that would be you sabotaging your efforts, okay? And so again, we want to make sure that in order to have a big breakthrough, in order to get rid of self-sabotage, you have to do it with somebody else, right? You have to have a heart-to-heart talk so that someone else can give you a perspective shift, someone else can give you a different point of view, someone else can give you some direct feedback, someone else can, and even if it's brutal feedback, right? Get some, right? Of course, I would rather you get feedback that's compassionate and loving, but heck, if you're suffering and that's your only option is to go talk to somebody that's going to tell you exactly how they think it is, and you can get some feedback, do it. Whatever it takes, because at least that bit of, suffering from talking to somebody that's not very supportive, at least that bit of suffering will get you moving again, will get you moving in a better direction. But just hiding by yourself and not getting this feedback and just trying to figure it out even more, that's called pride, right? And your pride will kick your butt every single time. It's one of the 7 deadly sins, right? Pride will hold you back from getting honest feedback that will help you to grow. Now, you can get feedback from all kinds of people. I recommend you get feedback from people that are successful in what you're trying to accomplish, because they've been down that road and they can relate and they can understand. If you are just getting feedback from, you know, a friend who's trying to be supportive, but they don't really have, you know, a good understanding of what's going on, maybe you can talk to a pastor, maybe you can talk to a counselor, you know, that can be helpful. A lot of times what we do when we feel like things are broken is we go to the medical route, right? So we talk to counselors for months that never really get us anywhere. We just keep talking about things, but there's no real tools, there's no real change, and you just are left feeling like, well, I did that and that didn't work either, so I guess I'm just posed, right? But that's not the case. So there's so many counselors and coaches out there, and everybody's trained a little differently, and everybody has their own personality mixed in with it. And so if that doesn't work trying it once, try again and again and again. And you might think, well, how many times do I have to try this? And the answer is until it works, until you get a breakthrough, right? And even when you have a breakthrough, you're going to do well for a while until you hit another wall, another belief, another blind spot, and then you got to go do it again. I'm going to walk so I'm not walking into the wind. Oh my God, it's cold. Ugh. That's okay. This conversation with you is worth it. It's important. We must press on. So, go by the water, he says. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm pretty sure it's colder by the water. So, anyway, and then what we'll do is we'll go to, you know, drugs, right? And that is like the worst idea ever. Now, there are some people, their brain is wired a certain way and medication can be helpful, but for most of us, it is not. It is not the solution, right? It gives you more side effects, it gives you more problems, and it's only a Band-Aid, and it's not ever healing anything anyway. You having just a little bit more serotonin in your brain is not going to change your life, right? Changing your beliefs, changing the story you tell yourself, having a better set of tools, a better set of strategies, having a mindset reset, that's where it's at. That's where the big breakthroughs happen. Not by taking some pill, and that's what we do. We think, well, I'll take this pill and my life's going to be all better. No, it isn't. You're going to take a pill, you're going to get side effects, and it's not going to change any of the foundational things that have been messing you up to begin with. So let me tell you a story about Sherry, okay? So Sherry was a really amazing woman. She came in to see me, and she was struggling. She wanted to lose weight, and she was just really having a really hard time. And no matter what she tried, nothing really worked. And the reason why, I'm just going to kind of jump to the chase, the reason why is because she didn't feel like she was worthy of being thinner and happy. She just didn't feel like she was worthy, and her only escape was food. So when she was younger, she had a sister, and her sister got Sherry was firstborn, and she had this younger sister, and her younger sister was naturally thin, and Sherry was thin too, but her younger sister was a little thinner, and Sherry's mom had some mental problems, okay? And so no matter what Sherry did, Sherry's mom always focused on her younger sister. Her younger sister was prettier, her younger sister was, you know, you should be more like her, and it was just really messed up. And a lot of times that's what happens to us, is our family's baggage gets passed on to us. Our family's issues and beliefs get passed on to us, and then we pick them up and we take it from there. And that is so destructive, but it happens all the time. So Sherry just had this underlying set of messages sent to her, sometimes overtly and sometimes subconsciously, that you know, you're not good enough, and you should be more like your sister, even though her sister was constantly getting in trouble, was constantly making bad choices. And Sherry was the irresponsible one, and yet she just got the wrong end of the deal. I've had lots of clients that'll say that. They'll say, like, I've done everything for my mom or my dad, and it was always my sibling who would get in trouble, who would make bad choices, who was never there for them, and then they would always be the one that got the praise. They would always be the one, and I could never understand it. And so I'm going to get quiet here just for a second. It looks like there's a little mini school trip with a whole bunch of little ones, and I don't want to be talking about this stuff in front of them. So, hi guys. So I'm just going to wait a second as they all look over at me. Like, who's this weird old guy with his camera? Anyway, I'm going to go back into the road less traveled, into the grass here. go around. I'm going to go around, back on the path. Okay, all right. Okay, so anyway, all right, so here we are. See, there used to be a time where I would have got real self-conscious and worried about people staring at me while I'm doing this. But I have learned over the years to get rid of that self-sabotage, to be loving and accepting of myself no matter what. Their opinion of me doesn't really matter. It's not really going to affect me unless I decide to let it affect me. And that's the lesson that I had for Sherry, right? It's you get final say-so over how you're going to feel now. It doesn't matter what's happened to you in the past. What matters is the meaning that you give to it. What matters is that what you decide to do with it now. Because you can't go back and change your past. You can't change your siblings or your parents or your spouse or whoever. All you can change is you and what's going on inside of you. And the good news is that's where the breakthrough happens. That's where the breakthrough occurs. And so we want to make sure that we are standing in our power. So let's review, okay? Because when Sherry started to do that, when she started to recognize that, hey, this was not my stuff, this was my mom's stuff. These were her issues. This wasn't even my sister's stuff, right? My sister has her own set of issues. She still has a whole bunch of problems. I still wouldn't want to change places with her. And so Sherry started to realize that she had accomplished a lot in spite of her frustrations. And the only reason that she was struggling with her weight was because she had learned early on to turn to food for comfort because she wasn't getting it from her mom. And once she recognized that and we started to give her new resources, once we upgraded her mindset and gave her a mindset reset, and we started to, she started to get the love and the support that she really needed, she took off. She lost a bunch of weight. She started feeling happier in all areas of her life. And we hardly talked about calories at all, right? We hardly talked about exercise at all. We hardly talked about, drinking more water or adding more protein to your diet. See, that's what everybody does when it comes to weight loss. They focus on, oh, I got to have, I've got to cut my calories and I've got to have the right diet. No, it isn't about diet. It's emotionally recharging your batteries and upgrading your mindset. Or people say, oh, to grow my business, I got to have another sales program. Oops, I guess FedEx is getting some free marketing here in the background. But anyway, so, I need to, I need to grow my business, I got to have another sales strategy. I've got to have another marketing plan. Oh, I've got to try this and this and this. And usually what people are doing is just spinning their wheels because what they need isn't something outside of them. What they need is something to shift inside of them. And that's where your big breakthrough is. And so, again, to recap, there's a couple ways to figure out if you are self-sabotaging. Number one, focus on how you're feeling. If you're not feeling good, that's the fastest way to know that there's some self-sabotage happening inside of you. And even though you're convinced that it's someone else or something external, or life just doesn't like you, that is false. There are beliefs inside of you that are attracting what's happening to you, and as frustrating as that might feel, you have to look at what's going on inside of you and shift it. The deeper you get into anger or self-pity, the more stuck you're going to feel. The second way to know if your self-sabotaging behavior is, are you isolating? Are you withdrawing? Are you pushing away? Are you spending countless hours by yourself in front of a computer trying to figure things out instead of talking to other humans and figuring out with other people what's really going on and getting that feedback? So those are two big ways to know that self-sabotage is occurring. So I'm going to share some more videos that are going to talk about when you recognize self-sabotage, what do you do with it, right? How do you start to shift it? And that'll be in the next video coming up. So I appreciate you hanging out with me. I'm going to get back to the car here because it's freezing. and I'll talk to you soon. So make today count, make it a sure success. And I'll talk to you. My mouth is freezing, I can't talk anymore. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Hey, would you like more free tips on how to be a mesmerizing leader? Then check out mesmerizingleadership.com and also hang out with me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tim Scher. Thanks so much and make your day a sure success.